Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our next session of the MX Player Knowledge Seminars. We are bringing to you on stage some very interesting gentlemen who have contributed to the seismic shift in OTT viewing. This power-packed session will speak to us on a very pertinent topic of today, which is OTT superpower, freedom and nuances in creativity. And to moderate this session, we have a lady with many talents. She's a popular celebrity talk show host and producer, former entertainment editor, keynote speaker, a trained actor, and a published Urdu poet with almost 2 decades of experience. She's known for her oratory skills and high-spirited conversations with top Bollywood celebrities. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to please welcome on stage Atika Farooqi. And with that, may I please invite on stage a versatile artist who has proved that talent, perseverance, and merit can go a long way. His integrity and effective performance, along with a lot of his significant work on the digital platform in the industry, have earned him a loyal fan base and a household name among the masses. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage the man who rose to fame with a death in Ganj, broken but beautiful, and Mirzapur, Vikrant Massey. Well, the speaker joining Vikrant is a real trooper. We have seen him transform from the innocent boy next door to macho, angry, small-town gangster. The actor who gave us some sunshine and then went on to charm Judi Dench on screen. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Ali Fazal. And that's not it. Our next guest, a veteran in the content advertising and entertainment space. Our next guest has spent over 2 decades working with some of the biggest agencies around the world. He has won many prestigious accolades for his integrated marketing campaigns. Put your hands together and welcome on stage Mr. Gautam Talwar, Chief Content Officer, MX Player. All right, the stage is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. A very good afternoon to all of you. How are you doing? Isn't the stage a really beautiful and sexy one? Guddu and Bablu and Gautam. Let me start with Guddu Pandit and Bablu Pandit. Bada bhai Guddu Pandit, chota bhai Bablu Pandit. Tell me, Mirzapur actually changed the course and changed the way we consume content. Free, bohemian, no biases, no pattern, no formula, nothing. Writers को ऐसा लगा जैसे free hand दे दिया गया हो कि आपको जो दिल करता है आप लिखिए, जो हकीकत है वो लिखिए. Whatever is real, you just pen it on the paper and we'll take it from there. You have played brothers in that season, actually all the seasons. And in terms of the quality of work that you do, you also seem like brothers from different mothers only. You focus on quality and less, as opposed to doing a lot of work, but you want to be remembered for the roles that you do. What is the relationship between you two off screen, and how have these last 5 years, where OTT kind of came into the race and literally took over, changed your professional life and personal life?
I think it changed quite a bit. But coming back to the previous part of the question, I think what you saw in Mirzapur between Ali and me was just an extension of our fondness for each other, which we generally have. And it definitely, I would also want to take this opportunity to say it was one of the most endearing experiences of my life, sharing screen space with Ali. But it was just an extension of what we feel for each other, you know, mutually. But what you're also trying to say is kind of true, you know, if not entirely true, I think OTT in the last few years, especially last 5-6 years, has given us all, like not just actors, but any form of storyteller, an opportunity to go out there and explore their skill sets. And also our exposure to international content, I think. Today, for example, an average OTT platform is catering to more than 150 countries, I think. And our exposure to that has also probably made us realize that there are things we need to do. We need to pull up our socks, and which I think we fairly have done really, really well in the last 5-6 years. And it's a great opportunity for all kinds of storytellers to come out there, technicians, actors, writers, directors. And I think it's just beginning right now. It's still very nascent. It's still taking its shape and form. But it's a great opportunity for all of us, especially if we consider what happened in the last 2 years due to the pandemic. I was lucky enough to interact with my audiences on a regular basis through OTT platforms. I had nearly 6 releases in the last 1.5 years. It's only because of OTT.
Wow.
Thank you. So the idea is to go out there, interact with the audiences. You also really do not want to box yourself. You don't want to bracket yourself. You really want to explore newer avenues. And what, lastly, I would want to say is what the pandemic has taught us is to be nimble and adapt. You know, I think, and we are still adapting. I think there's a fair way to go. And as it seems, I think it's only going to get better from here on.
Of course it will. Ali?
Hello. Hi. Yeah, no, I totally.
Gudu style में, hi.
उसके पैसे लगते हैं. I'm kidding. No, we're starting season 3, so we're excited. And yeah, so you'll have to wait for that. But no, I totally agree with Vikrant, and I think it has been one of my best experiences working with him. And I'd never met him before Mirzapur, but we both followed each other. At least I followed his career, and yeah, and you know, I think there's been a huge change in cinema in the last 2-3 years. We've all seen that, but like Vikrant also said, we are one button away from rejection when it comes to OTT, right? Because right next door there's another show and which is critically acclaimed, and you know, we're competing with all different platforms and different qualities. So we have to pull up our socks, but I think we're getting there. पहले 1-2 साल थोड़ा सा भड़ास निकला था, you know, to get whatever you want to put out there, and but I think slowly we're getting there. You know?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a great time, very exciting time. Gautam, let me congratulate you. I watched a series called Bhakal. I was given all the episodes first to review them. I watched the second season, then I went back to the first season to actually catch up with what I had missed on. It was so exciting and actually so real, so true. And I had also spent a few years in Meerut, that area, and I realized that, wow, what a commendable job the writers have done, and how much leeway have you given them to actually, like I said in the beginning, the writers are the real stars these days. I mean, after the faces that they are writing, the characters that they are writing, they are so brave. And whoever hasn't watched it, please watch it. There is a lot of reality in this OTT space. There is no faking anything. You fake things and people reject you. How is this phase? How is MX Player? What are the ideas about OTT content, the future that MX Player has? And what do you think have been your plus points, your assets, as far as the choices that you have made that kind of have got you this far?
Okay, great to be back. Spent 15 years as a strategic planner in advertising, so these are my folks. Made the shift to entertainment very recently. I think the discipline of advertising has taught me a lot to making sure that understanding what Nikhil spoke about, mass India, and I think that's where we all have to reach, and we've just begun. I think as an ecosystem, I think we understand the 30-seconder very well. Yeah. We understand the 1,000-hour television content very well. We understand the 120-minute format of feature film very well. I think none of us, and I'll be really honest about it, right, know the 300-minute to 400-minute premium content development very well. I think that ecosystem, like Vikrant spoke about, we are right just at the beginning of it. it's a long learning curve for all of us. It is undoubtedly a writer's medium for sure. And because I've been part of the advertising circuit and I've lived this world, there is so much talent that we borrow from. We borrow from advertising, we borrow from television, we borrow from film to actually create this ecosystem. And I think the authenticity comes because that is the only thing that matters in storytelling eventually. And I think the authenticity comes from this very, very great melting pot of these three ecosystems to create a fourth, which is which is the OTT system. And hopefully we've just begun, and hopefully we'll grow from here.
No, I think to add to that, and this is something I think we've been also witnessing, we still are trying to get out of this formula-based, structure, yeah, that we've been so used to. So if you remember before the OTT, there used to be seasons, है ना? कि वो 4 लड़कों की film आई है, फिर वो 10 फिल्में वैसी चलेंगी. या action film है, तो the whole year would be action and then romance or whatever. I think that is something where the OTT gets a little bit of a freedom. I know a lot of people still don't, and they want to rely on what has worked and tried and tested. But I think we have to go out there and take risks, and that is why we as actors, I feel like in my generation and my colleagues out there, a lot of people, in fact, yesterday I was watching Ayush's trailer, kaun si hai? Anek, koi aayi hai. We're pushing the bar and we're trying to break that rhythm, because that's the only way we will be able to tell original stories. हमारा काम ही यही है, हमें कहानियाँ सुनानी है, and as fearlessly as we can, within the given framework. Sometimes that framework becomes a little claustrophobic, I won't deny, but sometimes it's an out-of-body experience and it's amazing. And that's something only actors can relate with, or technicians in every field, in their respective fields. I mean, writers, when they see their stuff go out there and lift off the page. So yeah, it's a jaddo-jahad hai thodi, or fight hai, lekin I think it's worth it.
But I wanted to ask you, Ali, you would answer this very well. See, there are various mediums. Still, it's not that everybody is doing only OTT. You've kind of balanced your kitty very well.
Oh yeah, cinema must not die.
Yes,
I mean,
cinema.
if that's our point of this conversation,
Yes.
then it's wrong. Like, that's our first love. And it's amazing to keep going back to it. Like and I'm lucky, I got a chance to work on a film with Kenneth Branagh. It was a film called Death on the Nile. Classic hai, Agatha Christie's. But the beauty of that was we shot it on film camera, on 65 Panavision, like bazookas. So there are these moments where you get to go back in time, and just to be able to experience that. And the idea of film watching is this, the community watching. So we must not forget that. We must not become, the idea to do OTTs is not to make you couch potatoes, but to just be able to tell more and more stories so that you can open, a lot of people can open up, a lot of pea-brains can open up and have different perspectives and think on their feet and not just follow one narrative. There are narratives that run our lives now, and, we've stopped thinking on our feet. So I hope that's the idea. As artists, that's what we're trying to do, and I hope that's also in line with the theme of this event, which is the superpower within, and that's our superpower that we are gifted with. I mean, we're just actors. We dive into stories. You are the people who perceive it, who interpret it. So you have to think. Sometimes, not us actually.
But
I'm sorry to cut you. I'd
go
also
on.
want to add something which, both of them said, which is very interesting. Cinema has always been a part of our staple culture. The idea for any middle-class family to sort of save that money and go with your family by the end of the month. एक वो सिनेमा हॉल में बैठ के फिल्म देखना वो स्टेपल है, वो रहेगा और वो जाना भी नहीं चाहिए, जैसे अली ने कहा. But one really strong added advantage with OTT platforms today, and you'll see everything is so interconnected. There are smart TVs today, so it's almost like a door-to-door medium like television used to be. I come from television. I've done nearly a decade of television. And we all know, you come from advertising, so you've done it for more than a couple of decades, I believe. So a door-to-door medium it's huge. I mean, there is nothing that can replicate it, you know. The reason why advertising or any, like even satellite rights for films which we sell, वो तो हमेशा रहेगा ही, but the reason why we see, you know, why the advent of OTT has really sort of almost knocked us out is because the consumption patterns of audiences have changed. Like one common experience between Ali and me will always be Mirzapur. 80% or if, I'm sorry, I might not be right statistically, but a lot of people that I've sort of interacted with who've seen Mirzapur is on their way to work. वो अपने फ़ोन में अपने 11 इंच के फ़ोन में हेडफोन्स लगा के रास्ते में जाते जाते एक एपिसोड निपटा देते थे. And that is true.
Good value of time too.
Value of time, and also the consumption patterns have changed. It's almost like a door-to-door medium, if not exactly a door-to-door medium like television. So the reach is massive, you know, and और हमें तो पता ही है कि हिंदुस्तान में entertainment is such an important part of our lives.
Of course,
But it's scary, no?
So it should be what?
I mean, think about it. We're all like, sorry, I'm just randomly thinking when you said this. Every one of these guys, all us also, we're all stuck in algorithms, right? मतलब आपके बाजू वाले बंदे का same Netflix account या Amazon account या MX Player account होगा, and they'll have a totally different lineup of consumption. So the machine does that, and your machine does it for you. So it's like AI for every single person.
It's scary too.
You can get lost in it.
Yeah, you're being fed
Right?
things that you might not be necessarily wanting to buy, but you're being fed. You're right.
Amazing.
But that's a different discussion.
Sorry, just food for thought. Sorry.
But you know, Ali and Vikrant, Gautam, I'll come to you regarding this question too. You work in various mediums. Ali is working on a Hollywood project. He's worked with Judi Dench and Gal Gadot, and he's worked with Jared Butler in a different universe where the creativity and the craft and the nuances are different. Then you come to a Vishal Bhardwaj film, Khufia, which you've just wrapped up. Different nuances, different sensibility. Then you go to an OTT, which is like free. I have seen, मतलब मैंने वो scenes जब पहली बार देखे थे कि एक criminal अपने victim का literally गला कैसे काट रहा है, ये भी 1 minute तक दिखाया जाएगा. And I was like, my God, हम कब इस stage में आ गए जब ये entertainment होता, which has changed also in the second season, and the other. Actually, writers are also realizing what works and what doesn't work, and there was a time when people were very experimental. But there are 3 different mediums, and maybe ad films also, you're doing ad films also, or several other short films also. As an actor, do you find it difficult to adjust to mediums? Are there different rules for all the mediums? Are there different regulations to be followed? Do your directors tell you different things just because the medium is different? Is it that diverse?
No, okay. I mean, this is something I'm maybe confused about. What is freedom, right? Freedom cannot be absolute. Freedom also isn't being able to show a 1-minute sequence of gore. I could not watch my own show for a long time because I thought it was quite violent. But, so that could be one part of freedom. There's also freedom in other mediums. I mean, you know, we've been doing Hollywood movies, or we've been watching so many films. Freedom is in the way you are telling that story within the framework. So I've always had a issue with हम कहाँ define कर रहे हैं freedom, you know, in cinema. Because sometimes that can, I think freedom comes with responsibility, you know. Yeah, that's the
With great
takeaway.
power and with great freedom also comes great responsibility.
Totally.
You're right.
Totally. There's a structure and a system that allows for freedom. Otherwise, everybody's on their own. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
No, I genuinely think that I don't think we start from a premise to tell a story because we have freedom to tell it. I don't think that's how you start. No storyteller starts like that. A storyteller starts from saying, I want to tell this story for a reason in his or her mind. And it's always largely a gut call, right? So I don't think OTT platforms are trying to figure out, oh, now we have freedom, so we'll try and tell these kind of stories. I don't think it works like that at all, right? And the fact that there has been a kind of ecosystem developed for, like I said, television, advertising. Everybody has their own rules and regulations. Over a period of time, I guess, we'll evolve to that stage as well. But I think that the big thing to understand is that the cord cutters, the 18 to 22-year-old male who used to get something to watch, right, on television has nothing to watch. Cinema, like Ali rightly said, once एक वो action film हो रही है तो सारी action film आ जाती हैं फिर, and there is a kind of a भेड़ चाल. What OTT has managed to do, and it's not only MX Player, I think everybody in the industry, every other platform as well, right? They have democratized storytelling. And there is that 18 to 22-year-old who's saying, yeah, listen, TV में शायद मेरे पास कुछ है नहीं, because it's not catered. It's catered to the FMCG, woman of the house, the remote is with her. Yes. So there is no programming. Cinema is expensive and few and far in between the great stories. We are the largest cinema film producing country, but the percentage of hits is very, very low. Yeah. So what OTT has done is that given the youth of this country a medium and an access to genres that are actually not available anywhere. So whether it be crime and why Mirzapur is such a large hit, and where even Ashram for that matter, is the fact that there is a kind of storytelling that has not been available to this audience ever. And for the first time when it's available, then all of us are trying to figure out, okay, so that there is a genuine demand. And like he said, machine and data gives us a lot of insights into everything. What genre, why that genre, how many people watching, where they're watching, which state, which country. I mean, you can go on and on and on, right? So it's directionally correct, but storytelling will always be from a gut level. I think that's the important part.
So basically the freedom again goes back to the writers, the storytelling rules. How many of you watch OTT content with family? Do you watch it with family? Do you find it easy to watch it with family? Are you going back to the pattern of watching things together with family? Because there was a time when we were watching our own individual content on our own individual phones. But a recent couple of studies say that we are going to
as long as there are enough chai breaks. Huh? I said as long as there's enough chai breaks in the middle.
Child breaks, yeah, bachon aankh band karo types, you know.
No, I think that it's a personal screen now. Every individual here has a personal screen, a personal choice. Yeah. A machine is trying to understand what that personal choice is, will deliver that personal choice, and there is no appointment viewing. So there is no family time. Like he said, you're watching it while you go to work, you are at a different episode, your family is at a different episode, even if you're watching it together. So the behavior, like, I mean, we're all advertising people, right? Consumer behavior shift is actually happening. And the more it happens, the more it will change.
I have a question for you. Sorry, technical. When you're advertising a show, do you advertise it thinking every year there are people turning, I don't know, 18 years old, so new subscribers? Are we catering to those guys? Or are you genuinely, I mean, it could be both ways. Both are genuine attempts at promoting the show, but are you there, or are you just thinking of promoting the show for what it is? I mean, because with a big studio like you know MX or Amazon or Netflix or all the others, there's also that demographic you have in mind, right? That okay, ye log to hain, the loyals are there. Do you go for the new ones? And then suddenly does it again become a advertising battle and you know, it's a vicious...
It is that kind of cycle. So between AVOD and SVOD, there are different models, of course. We are AVOD.
So we still worry about that, right?
Of course.
Interesting, because I watch a lot of content as a part of my job. And there are some shows that I really want my parents to watch. I really want the kids of the family to watch. I want my uncles and aunties to watch. But I feel कि बता तो दूँ लेकिन फिर गाली देंगे कि क्या तुमने कर दिया. बट ये देखिए आप क्योंकि इसकी स्टोरी बहुत अच्छी है. ये देखिए आप क्योंकि कुछ नया है. I like Love Hostel a lot. I like Bhokal a lot. I thought they were like very interesting stories and well-made stories. But do the creators have it in mind कि हम धीरे-धीरे we'll go to a position and a space where we'll make content, but family बैठ के देख सके? Or is it very clear in their minds कि नहीं, it is for individual watching? That is something people are not clear about what OTT stands for. Is it for individual watching? Yeah, you will have the same cinematic experience sitting in one house, in one drawing room with a big TV preferably, which have also become cheaper, so you can actually watch a nice season with family at home. But would the scenes and would the gore and would the sex scenes and would the abuse allow them to enjoy OTT as well as they enjoy cinema?
So we just started. Let me give you a very quick statistics. 95% and over of most OTT content across all platforms is mobile viewing. There's a very, very small percentage of population who has televisions and connected and Chromecast, probably people in this room, and most of us are not making shows for them, trust me. Sorry guys, but no offense meant. But we are, what I think Nikhil spoke about Bharat, we are all trying to get to that audience. Those people, that one little boy sitting in Ludhiana, Barabanki, that's where the audience really is, you know. Even in the metros, the people who drive you to work, the Uber guys, right? They are the ones who are really consuming this content because they have time. वो भी जब तक आएगा बंदा घर से तो तब तक मैं एक आधा एपिसोड तो देख लेता हूँ. We have very busy lives, right? So India, like I said, is time-rich, money-poor country. वक्त बहुत है हमारे पास. सब बच्चों के पास बहुत वक्त है, पढ़ना है नहीं. So there is a reason why we create what we create. But the fact is that we are attempting what you said for the first time to do something called premium long format, which is saying that can I do something for the 18 to 22-year-old youth, but do the same long, like 50 episodes, 52 episodes, 60. Is that a possibility? As in, I don't know. They may not have the patience. Abhi to khair, yesterday I think ShareChat told us 2 seconds and they go forward. So this whole thing about character piece, this whole piece, it's challenging. And I'm sitting with actors and I know how much they put into each character, right? And then you have an audience who says 15 seconds, I don't like it, out. It's quite a challenge, to be honest. So the family viewing is a little far away as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. 5 years far or 10 years far? 5 साल लगेंगे.
May never happen because the behavior shift in the consumer has happened.
Okay.
So people may not want to sit together and watch television.
Okay.
That's my take. I think probably won't happen.
Okay, तो खर्चा बढ़ा दिया आपने, मतलब ज़्यादा phones खरीदो, ज़्यादा TV खरीदो. Okay. One thing that OTT has also done very well is change the way we appreciated our hero. पहले होता था कि एक थोड़ा toxic masculinity was acceptable. He had to be of a certain physical structure. देखने में खूबसूरत ही होना चाहिए, देखने में likable, sexy, adorable type का ही एक prototype होता था उस एक ज़माने में. We had Mithun, we had Govinda, we had Amitabh Bachchan and all these people who were like very an average woman's wow man, that poster guy. And now we have Vikrant. In Love Hostel, you played such a sweet lover who was so nice. The girl you get married to is maybe a little more aggressive than you. But you never flinch. You never like कि मुझे कैसे मेरे ऊपर कैसे इसने आवाज़ ऊंची कर दी. Similarly, Ali, with you, you are also one of those actors who's kind of changed the way we love on screen. The idea of romance on screen has changed in a very nice way. What do you have to say about that? Because you were also once upon a time a consumer of romance when you watched it on VCR and DVDs. And you loved a certain kind of a woman when you were growing up as a boy. But now when you see the boy and a girl, the idea of a likable boy or a likable girl has totally changed. And also the way you romance has changed. वो जो aggression होता था प्यार में, मैं कट जाऊँगा, मर जाऊँगा, वो भी नहीं है. There's a very nice balance of emotions in romance that we see.
I very firmly believe that cinema or any form of storytelling is just an extension of the world that we are living in. And whether you talk about a conventional hero जिसके biceps होने चाहिए या फिर toxic masculinity की जो आपने बात की, I think these or even equality, or whether feminism or equality and all these things, they are things which have gathered pace on a very general level in our society. And what we are trying to showcase in any form of storytelling, whether it is novels or paintings or movies or shows, is just an extension of the world that we are living in. Cinema has always been an extension of the times that we are living in. And that's probably one of the reasons why we see more stories talking about equality. We talk about men not being toxic and not being the conventional masculine hero ko marne wala, logon ko marne wala. We can have sensitive men too. I did a film called A Death in the Ganj 4 years ago, which spoke of a very sensitive guy, and it was really appreciated. Well, I think it's also reflective of the times that we're living in, and it is bound to happen that way. And it's only going to get better from here on. The narratives are changing. Our general narratives are changing. Today, due to advertising, एक बहुत ही popular ad आया था. I think we are all trying to raise our boys very differently now. पहले एक ये होता था कि लड़कियों की तरह मत रहो, बट आज आप वो सोचने से भी कतराते हैं बिकॉज वो आपके घर में आपकी प्रैक्टिस बदल गई है. एंड वॉट यू डू एज एन आर्टिस्ट, वी आर स्टोरी टेलर्स, तो वो हमारी प्रैक्टिस में भी रिफ्लेक्ट करता है, आई थिंक.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm just
Go on.
to add to that. Yeah, I think we want people who are accessible on screen as well. There was not pehle bhi, there was that middle door hamari cinema mein where it's the inaccessible hero worship हमारे हमेशा से है. Yeah, the demigod worshipping, and it's always been there in our culture. So it wasn't something new. And now I think because of different mediums, we're all accessible and people want to relate. And actually, I think this is also similar to the 1950s. जब हमारी सिनेमा में ऐसे actors थे, very normal narratives were being made and very relative stuff was being made. It's been there. We've had
awareness. I think just general awareness is
Yeah.
reflecting in everything that we are a part of, I think.
Yeah.
I think society reflects storytelling, storytelling reflects society. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
And it keeps happening. And I think that that those masculinity codes, most planners will understand this, right? There is a code to masculinity. There's brawn, there is intelligence, there's boy next door, there's all of that, right? And all brands, whether it's cars, agarbatti, cigarettes, everything is sold on those codes. So is cinema, right? You still have the big bronze Singhams of the world that will do very well, the Pushpas of the world that will do very well, and you'll have the point of the matter that today's society is accepting of what is real, and you don't only need one form of code of masculinity. You can have multiple codes. You can have multiple expressions of manlyhood, and that is what is being accepted, and that is to celebrate forever, because every human being is not just that one brawn piece of work. There is a lot more, and the fact that characters are written. Heroes were either black or white. Today, the grey is the hero. I mean, you got the biggest two grey people right here sitting, and they are liked because they are real. They are just not ekdam black nahi hai or ekdam white nahi hai. In storytelling, you need those shades, and kudos to both of them. I mean, the effort to get that out right is just fantastic.
True.
I think there was Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. There was this, and I can say this even for Vikrant. In season 1, there was this macho-ness to our characters, but it only worked because we were able to show the vulnerable side of our.
Yeah, even in your relationships, you were quite docile actually.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, and that vulnerability is what helped me carry on in season 2 as well, and of course further. I think we need that in stories. To be able to touch your vulnerability, to be able to catch you when you can feel weak, and it's okay. And a story can make you cry. मैं तो अकेले सिनेमा हॉल जाता था क्योंकि मुझे डर लगता था मेरे दोस्त मेरा मजाक उड़ाएंगे क्योंकि मैं बच्चों की तरह रोता हूँ आज भी and I do that, and it's very meditative for me, but yeah, that's
कैसे रोते हैं?
कैसे क्या मतलब कि मैं you're like that parent who comes in कि बेटा वो सामने आके सुनाओ जरा पोएट्री सुनाना जरा क्या
चाचा के सामने डांस करके दिखाओ
दिखाओ. So there was this mechanical engineer sitting there. I told him तुम भी बना के दिखाओ अभी मुझे दिखाओ कैसे बनाते हो. हम ही लोग को बोला जाता है ना.
हंस के दिखाओ, डांस करके दिखाओ. Yeah, that's a middle class B-town city. मजा मस्ती time.
Backstage. Yeah, time up हो गया है.
All right, Atika, this is all the time we had. Thank you, gentlemen. नहीं और मैं आपको बोलूँगी नहीं डांस करके दिखाओ या कुछ.
No, just give me 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. There's this one interesting study that has come. Some newspaper has published it. It says that out of the 50 or 60 crore people who are consuming OTT, less than 10% are subscribed. This is like quite an anticlimax. We had never expected that. We thought that all the money is going into OTT. What's the business model and how rudely shocking is that data?
Yeah, so we are AWOD guys, we're free. We don't charge subscription. It's true democratization of content. But yes, you're right. India mein, there is a concept of, I don't think they understand that you can pay for content. They've never paid for content. It television भी लगता है उनको हाँ ad भी देख रहे हैं, but they never thought that I'm paying for content. वो cable वाले को पैसे दे देते हैं कुछ तो that is the mindset. And if you never paid for content and you've got to extract money for content from a very, like I said, time-rich, money-poor country, it is going to be a tough battle. It is not going to be easy. And I think that I think everybody is experimenting with models. There is a growth of subscription that will reach a certain point and plateau, and then everybody has to figure out what and how to make money out of it. And right now it's an investment phase. The habits are shifting. Once the habits have shifted, like all true startups of the world, we will start monetizing all of them.
I'll quickly just take 10 seconds and I'll just want to add, and I'm really sorry.
Sure, please go ahead.
Piracy is still very much prevalent. We also need to understand, and I will very openly share experiences. The telegrams of the world really need to be looked at because, people out there are actually on social media platforms. On social media platforms are recommending piracy on platforms like Telegram, and I actually put out a tweet saying that please don't vitiate our experience, our hard work. We work for two years and we slog our asses off, and then people on a social media platform like Twitter is recommending to watch Mirzapur on a Telegram, and that's ridiculous.
And I can add to that, even the free platforms are watched on Telegram. I can't understand why.
Exactly. And I think
if you see the ashram number on Telegram, right, there are 1 million people who watched it on Telegram. I'm saying it's free. Why are you going and pirating it?
And
There's no logic.
I
but
think
that's the Indian consumer, guys. That's how complicated the habit of piracy, and therefore
we are also inherently corrupt. We really need to understand this. अगर हम सिग्नल पे जाके 50 रुपए दे के छूटना चाहते हैं, लाल बत्ती फॉलो नहीं करना चाहते, तो वो हमारे अंदर inherent है वो चीज.
Yeah.
And in the end, let's finish with your. We have actors on stage. We can't get away without a little bit of animation. Your dialogues. Just recreate a dialogue
ये
from
वही
your
हो गया, drawing room हो गया ये हमारा.
last one. अरे पैसे लगते हैं.
Drawing room हो गया.
टाइम अप हो गया. डायलॉग्स मत बुलवाओ यार.
Guddu Pandit.
All right.
Guddu Pandit, your dialogue.
I'm
Bablu Pandit, your dialogue.
Dialogue.
आप सबका यहाँ आने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you
everyone.
so much, gentlemen. Thanks a lot, Adhika.